Hello, everyone, and welcome to another video here on the Cycling Day in Extra channel or on the podcast if you're listening there. And as always, I'm joined by Patrick Blake about who's cycling. And today we're talking about the world champion, the Tour de France champion, the Giro d'Italia champion. And that is, of course, Tadej Pogačar. And I mean, Patrick, what we're going to focus on here is his 2025 season schedule. But yeah, Patrick, as a world champion, it's pretty remarkable. And his season last year was so stellar.
Yeah, his 2024 season was pretty remarkable, to say the least, winning 2 Grand Tours, plus winning Il Lombardia, plus winning Liège-Bastogne-Liège and Strade Bianche, third at San Remo, winning GP Montreal, the World Champs, Giro dell'Emilia. Just pretty much everything. Tadej Pogačar was a winning machine in 2024. Can he continue that in 2025? Well, his race calendar, which was announced recently, is as follows. He will begin the world champion in the UAE Tour, which obviously makes a lot of sense, considering that he rides for the UAE Team Emirates XRG, they are now called. Then he'll move into Strade Bianche. Obviously, he's won that before. Maybe he can win from 90 kilometers out this time. Milano-San Remo, still the elusive one for him. Got close this year with a third place. We'll see what he can do differently perhaps this year. Then moving into the Cobble Classics, interestingly enough, he will be going back here after missing out on them in 2024. So he will begin with E3 Saxo Classic, which of course he has done before when he went head-to-head with Van der Poel and Van Aert, but then he ended up finishing third. He then does Gent-Wevelgem, which I find to be quite interesting. I think I've be interested to hear what you say about this, Scott. But Gent-Wevelgem, a bit of a strange one for one which usually ends in a bit of a sprint. Then we go into the Ronde van Vlaanderen. No Paris-Roubaix. Sad faces all round. Into the Ardennes next with the Amstel Gold Race, Flèche Wallonne, and Liège-Bastogne-Liège. Maybe he can, do what Demi Vollering did and win all three of them. The Criterium de Dauphiné, the Tour de France, and then Il Lombardia. So just at the moment, the 1 Grand Tour. However, I must note that there is no world champs in here towards the end. So there's definitely scope for other things to be added in later in the season, because it would be a bit of a shame for Tadej to just do the Tour and then have loads of months off and just do Il Lombardia, and that's it for the curtain. But what do you make of that schedule, Scott? What stands out?
Yeah, I think it's quite a good program. Yeah, no Paris-Roubaix. I mean, the first part, UAE Tour, he's done very well at that race before. Had that battle with Adam Yates, and now they're on the same team. A good start for him, maybe. Also, the UAE guy, world champion, needs to go to the UAE Tour. That's just the thing. And then, you touched on with Strade Bianche, I mean, if he's anywhere near to his form last year, who would bet against him? Hopefully we have a Mathieu van der Poel there in full form, but I'm not even sure Mathieu van der Poel is there, if I can recall. Milan-San Remo, that elusive one, we've spoken about this many times, is Tadej Pogačar, what can he do? Is he going to attack? Maybe you should attack that one from 90 kilometers out. But yeah, if we're just focusing on the classics, E3, he's been good there in the past. Again, Wimbledon, like you said, that is quite an odd one. Yeah, not quite sure how you would do against Mats Pedersen and Mathieu van der Poel, but on the Kemmelberg, you can easily see an acceleration going in from Tadej Pogačar. But I mean, you can't bet against him on any of this. Ronde van Vlaanderen, we talked about that many times as well. He has a phenomenal record. Fourth in the first one, winning the last one he was in. And then, yeah, you call it the Demi Vollering thing. I call it the Philippe Gilbert 2011. Amstel Gold, Flèche Wallonne, Liège-Bastogne-Liège. You almost did it. Tadej Pogačar back in 2023. Amstel Gold, Flèche Wallonne. And then Patrick Lefevre did that pothole and he crashed out. And we didn't see the Remco Evenepoel Pogačar showdown. But I mean, Patrick, in that classics phase, sorry, UAE, we're throwing you in there as well. Yeah, interesting. I heard on a Danish podcast that they think this is the secret behind Jonas Vingegaard winning the Tour de France, because he can go to altitude while Tadej Pogačar is busy doing all these extracurricular one-day races.
Extracurricular in air quotes. People in the comments just screaming like, what do you mean the Tour of Flanders extracurricular? It's the monument. It's the best race. Interesting thing to ask would be, which of these races do you see him not winning?
Yeah, Welcome.
Gent Wevelgem. Yeah, that's literally the only one which I think realistically. Yeah, but like those two are the ones which I've got question marks over. But like you say, Stradé, even if Van der Poel turns up, you'd probably say that if it's the Stradé route from this year, which was longer and harder and had more climbing, it still favours Tadej. So that one's almost a bit of a given. Yeah, San Remo, Gent Wevelgem, the question marks. I think it is interesting. Obviously, like you say, will this favour Jonas at the Tour? I think inherently Pogačar's schedule at the moment, although we don't know what Jonas's is, to be fair, Tadej's has got inherently more risk involved because of all of the Cobble Classics in there and the fighting for position, and that's just usually a lot of hectic racing which can end in some bad crashes. I'm not saying that will happen to Tadej, but there is going to be more risk in these races than in Jonas's altitude camp, more than likely. Will that favour Jonas in the Tour? We don't know, to be honest, because Tadej, you don't know. If he doesn't crash, he can still do really fine. Like, he'll go to the Tour and be absolutely fine. If he does crash and he has a bit of a 2023, then he probably will not do that great to the Tour because he will have pretty bad preparation for it. So it's just part of a parcel, really, with Tadej's schedule, is that he has to take that risk to win these big cobbled races. You need to be putting your collarbone on the line every single time that you line up, because that's sometimes what it takes to win.
But it's just like, come on, throw Paris-Roubaix in there. Like, just do it. Just, please.
Come on! Come on! I'm begging you! Do it now!
World champion. Oh, imagine if he cleans up as world champion as well. Paris-Roubaix, world champion, Tour de France winner. Like, when's the last time that happened? Bernard Hinault? Like, Eddie Merckx?
Do you think that, what would it take for Tadej to go to Roubaix? Because is it, what is it that's holding him back? Or maybe it's not him, maybe it's his team or whoever it is, or his coach who says he's not ready. Who knows what it is? But I do wonder why Roubaix isn't in there. Is it just because it is too risky? It's a step up in like riskiness compared to some of the other cobbled races? Is it just that they actually don't fancy Pogačar's chances? Do they think that he's not actually going to do that well in that race? It would be a bit scandalous to say that. I think he usually takes to most races like a duck to water. But I do wonder what it will take for Pogačar to go to Roubaix one of these years, because there's always going to be some other race which might be, hampered because he does Roubaix and crashes. But I feel like one of these days he's going to have to just do it.
Do it! Just do it!
And I don't know when that's going to be, but it's obviously clearly not this year. So we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed already for 2026.
Yeah, one of the best ever monument riders, definitely of his generation. And it's just like, come on, just do it.
Do it now!
Because, Milan San Remo was the other one he's missing out on, and he's already had a podium there last year, so who knows? But I think you're right. I think it's also like the fact that Paris-Roubaix doesn't have an incline, so obviously that is where Tadej Pogačar makes a lot of... Yeah, that is where Tadej Pogačar is the best rider in the world, so that obviously that's a bit of hindrance to him putting in a thunderous attack. But I mean, when we continue deeper into it, like you've already pointed out, Criterium du Dauphiné, Tour de France, no second Grand Tour. And you were talking about omissions. Obviously, no Tour of Denmark. That's the first one we have to highlight. But like, no Vuelta España. I'm a bit sad about this because last year we saw him doing the Giro Tour, his first ever two Grand Tours in one season. So then I was like, okay, come on. Now you're going to do the Vuelta again, because we haven't seen him since 2019 when he did that heroic third place and winning the white jersey in 3 stages along the way. So it's just like, come on, Tadej, you're the world champion. You could win it. Everybody wants to see him, and they even want to see him in Torino, which apparently is part of the Vuelta, even though it's Italy.
I think it's not out for question that it might go. That last part of the season is looking awfully blank at the moment for my liking. And I think that is just giving them wiggle room in case of whatever, basically. They don't want to put in something and commit into something too soon. I think there is ample enough scope for Pogačar to go to the Vuelta after the Tour and then still do well in Il-Lombardia. Because, Remco will contest him at Il-Lombardia, okay. If Remco doesn't do the Vuelta and has perfect prep for Il-Lombardia, maybe that levels things out a little bit. I think there's scope for him to do the Vuelta. And it's also worth noting, I just checked, 2024, Tadej Pogačar had 58 race days, right? If you were to take his schedule at the moment as is and say that's exactly what he's going to do, he would have the Tour's 21, the Dauphiné's 8, so that's like 29. The UAE Tour's like 7, so now we're on like 36. Then it'll be 37, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you're going to end up with like somewhere in the mid-40s of race days, I think. So it'll be a little bit less than 2024. I'm just wondering about whether they're concerned about race days and him being fatigued or something. He doesn't tend to do loads of race days, does Pogačar? Like the last three years, so 2024 he did 58, 2023 he did 49, and 2022 he did 54, 2021 he did 60, so he's not like a massive race day getter. And this is definitely reflected in this year again, where, he's going to end up doing somewhere in the mid-40s. If he were to do the Vuelta as well, that would be a relatively big year for Pogačar, and maybe that's what they're worried about putting onto him.
Do you think they're torn between Rwanda and Vuelta España? Because, I mean, it is a trek.
Yeah, I still don't know how people are going to react to the world champs being in Africa, in the sense of the logistics of getting there and how much it will influence schedules around that race. Because obviously there's going to be other races on around World Championships, and it might wipe some people out to say we're going to go to World Champs and throw away and basically not be able to compete in these other races. So I don't know. Maybe they are a little bit concerned about the logistics of getting to Rwanda and back, and whether doing that might be compromising to Il-Lombardia. I'm not too sure. Maybe that's why they haven't committed to it this early on in the season.
There's another race that I would have liked to have seen. Tour of Slovenia, world champion going to his home tour.
Yeah, it's just going to the bog standard, normal Criterium du Dauphiné. I would be interested to see, and we'll probably do another video when Jonas Vingegaard's schedule is released, and see just how much overlap they have here, because usually they tend to avoid each other like the plague until the Tour. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Jonas maybe even go to Tour de Suisse. Or Tour of Slovenia, imagine.
Yeah. Oh my God, that would be so funny. But anyways, with that, that's basically it for this chat about Tadej Pogačar. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.